So you want to rent a pontoon boat. Great. Well, let's talk about how to operate one, and I'll give you a few tips on how to navigate your way through our emerald green waters. Let's get started. In order to operate a rental boat, there's a few important requirements to keep in mind. Whoever signs the contract must be at least 18 with a valid driver's license. As per Coast Guard regulation, drivers must provide photo ID and keep a copy of the lease agreement throughout the rental period. First, let's talk about some of the safety equipment that's required on board. We have life jackets located in an easily accessible area, and it's important that everybody knows how to wear them properly. Non-swimmers or weak swimmers should always wear a life jacket. For children under the age of 6, a life jacket is mandatory at all times while the vessel is in operation. Moving on to the engine. Before starting the engine, make sure no one is in the area. The throttle should be in neutral and the engine cutoff switch must be connected in order to start. Also make sure the engine cutoff switch lanyard is attached to the driver. If you try to start the engine without the engine cutoff switch, you'll hear an alarm. Pretty simple, just plug the switch back in and try to start it. To turn the engine off, simply turn the key or pull the engine kill switch. The fire extinguisher is located in a clearly marked area, and it's important for you to know how to use it properly. Swim ladder is available for easy boarding and reboarding. We have a bimini top for shade and protection from the sun. The boat also has storage space under the seats. Majority of companies provide a first aid kit for emergencies and navigation lights. The lights must be used from sunset to sunrise and during times of low visibility like fog, haze, or rain. To ensure safe navigation on the water, it's important to understand how to interpret red, green, and white lights on a pontoon boat. So let's show you how to use the tilt trim switch. When you're in shallow water, you'll want to tilt your engine up. If you bring your engine too high, you have no control. Once you're in deeper water, tilt your engine back down for easier control. The number of vessel passengers should not exceed the limit set by the Coast Guard, which is typically 12 for rental boats, or the passenger weight capacity of the vessel, whichever comes first. Take note of the RPM gauge, fuel gauge, and tilt trim gauge on the dashboard. If there's a stereo on board, the ACC switch is used for stereo power. If you're driving, make sure to turn the music down so you can listen to your surroundings for any impending dangers. Be sure to use the sound-making device and/or the vessel horn to signal other boaters if necessary. It's recommended to have another passenger be your second set of eyes while you're operating the vessel. Operate at a safe speed to allow ample time to stop and practice defensive driving. Make sure to follow the rules of the road. And if unsure, stay to the right when confronting another vessel in a head-on situation. When it's time to take action early and make it obvious so that other boaters are certain of what you're doing well ahead of time. Remember, there's no brakes on a pontoon boat, so stopping quickly may be difficult or even impossible if you're going too fast. If any of these alarms go off, call the company you're renting from for assistance. Currents can be really strong in some areas like Crab Island or the East Pass. So never let kids go into the water until the strength of the currents and the depth of the water has been assessed. Please keep in mind that currents could become stronger unexpectedly, so exercise caution when driving the boat, and anchoring could be difficult if the currents are too strong. Do not anchor on the east or south side of Crab Island, as these areas drop off and people can get pulled out. Cruise around the perimeter and watch what's going on before you pick a spot to anchor up. Approach your anchoring spot moving against the current or walking your boat in if the current isn't strong. Keep power to your engine until you're anchored. How to set your anchor. Let's discuss this. You should carefully drop your anchor straight down and feed the line until you see or feel the anchor start biting on the seabed as the boat drifts back with the current. Gradually continue to pay out more scope until you feel the anchor bite and hold. Once you're happy that the anchor's set, tie the anchor line off on a cleat and you're ready to enjoy the water. Don't exit the boat until you're set and the engine's off. We recommend that someone that knows how to operate the boat remains on board or close by, even when anchored. Be prepared for your vessel to turn with the tides. If you're too close to other vessels, you may have to re-anchor or assist other boaters to readjust. We ask that at least one responsible adult is assigned to keep an eye on each child on board in the water at all times. Additionally, we recommend assigning at least one responsible adult to be on the lookout whenever passengers or parts of the boat obstruct the operator's view. If your vessel's equipped with a slide, always evaluate the depth before using it and never slide down head first. Diving or jumping off boats in shallow waters, especially Crab Island, is strictly prohibited. If anyone's swimming near the boat, please turn the engine off and remove the kill switch. Safety is paramount, and we want to ensure everyone's out of harm's way. Well, you had your fun and it's time to go. Check that the engine is tilted down so that the propeller's in the water, the throttle is in neutral, and the kill switch is in and not dangling. Before you pull up your anchor, please ensure that all passengers are on board and there's no swimmers around your boat or engine. Make sure that the swim ladder is up and that kids under 6 have Coast Guard approved life vests on. If you're ready to leave, be ready for currents to push your vessel. If tides are strong, make sure you're facing the currents before pulling up the anchor. After starting the engine, position your boat to where you're right over the anchor while pulling the slack of the rope. In the time it takes you to pull your anchor on board and get back to the captain's seat, your boat can drift several yards. So it's best to have an extra helper assist with the anchor if you can. And if you're unsure, ask other boaters to assist or feel free to call your rental agency for assistance. You may have to walk your boat out away from other vessels and then drive it out. If you're unsure of the waters when you're leaving, wear a life jacket. This is Florida, so pay attention to the weather. All kinds of things can happen. Be knowledgeable of what to do in these scenarios. If you see a storm in the distance, it might be time to pull up your anchor and start heading in, or be close so you can be back before it gets worse. Drive slow and approach any waves at an angle. If you hit a wave head on, you can take a nosedive and have a whole bunch of water wash your boat down. If there's lightning, you're on a metal pontoon. Head back now. When you're parked, don't tie off to other vessels, as wave or wake action could cause damage to either boat. And when you're running, it's important to maintain a safe distance from other vessels. Keep arms and legs inside the boat while underway. Riding on the bow or back sun deck while the boat is in motion is strictly prohibited. If you fall off, the pontoons will funnel you directly into the propeller, resulting in serious injury or death. When you're anchored, it's probably a good idea to never be underneath the boat, and just stay away from the propeller. Don't get distracted while driving. Additionally, no drinking or drugs are allowed while driving. Boating under the influence is a serious violation of Florida law and can result in severe consequences. Keep your eyes peeled for light-colored water, as this can indicate shallow water or grass flats. We also ask that you do your best to avoid running through the seagrass beds, as they are crucial for the ecosystem. Once again, don't be that guy. Adhere to the posted speed limits. When you're in a speed zone that's posted as idle speed, no wake, the vessel must operate at a minimum speed that allows it to maintain headway and steerage way. When you're in a slow down minimum wake, vessels must be fully off plane and completely settled in the water. Any wake created by a vessel in one of these zones must be minimal. When passing or in a resume wake, you may accelerate to a safe speed. When you're traveling through bayous, these are residential waterways, so take a slow approach. Operate at a slow minimum wake when within 300 feet of emergency vessels with activated emergency lights or within 300 feet of construction vessels displaying an orange flag. When approaching a dock or the rental facility, this should be done with as little speed as possible. Make sure to factor in the wind and the currents when approaching the dock. If you're pulled over by law enforcement, be sure to cooperate and do what they say. Provide your registration, driver's license, lease agreement, and boater's license if required. Failure to operate your vessel in a reasonable and prudent manner with regard to other vessel traffic and posted restrictions is considered careless operation and can result in consequences. If there's an accident or an injury, call 911 and apply first aid until help arrives. Please show respect for swimmers and divers by keeping a minimum wake and maintaining a distance of at least 300 feet from a diver down flag. Keep your distance away from all wildlife and remember not to feed them, unless you're fishing, of course. And while we're talking about fishing, if you're going to do it, it's important to understand the rules. You got to have a fishing license and follow fishing regulations. Okay, so quick review of the most important stuff to do. We can't wait for you to visit the Emerald Coast and explore our little slice of paradise. We want you to have a great time with family and friends, and your safety is very important to us. So be courteous, cautious, use your best judgment, and you're going to have an amazing time. Happy boating!